Uh, Hello guys.
Hello guys.
Hello guys. Good evening.
Hello
So,
guys. Good evening. Hello guys. Good evening.
so we will be waiting for a couple of minutes and then we will start the webinar. So, hello guys, let's start the webinar. So, first of all, welcome to the webinar and let me know if you can hear my voice clear and loud and clear. So, first of all, I would like to thank you for all you to joining the webinar. So, my name is Prakhar Omar and I am the marketing consultant for the DevOps University. I'm going to take few minutes of your time to explain you the ground rules about the webinar and what our company are and what we do. So moving to our next slide about us. So you are all, firstly, let me tell you about some of the ground rules of the webinar. So you all will be on the mute. So if you have any question within the session, you can ask in the chat window and our technical expert will reply to your answer. This session will be recorded and the recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and you can access from there. The recording will be available in the YouTube channel within 24 hours of the session. So let me tell you about what DevOps University is and what we are doing. So DevOps University is a globally recognized and the most trusted DevOps certification provider. We design DevOps certification program and award accredited certification. Our concept is to experimentally design DevOps learning for IT engineers and other professionals. Apart from this, we also provide career counseling, mentoring, training to fresh graduate, postgraduate, or from many other sectors across the globe. So you can visit our website for more information. So moving to the next slide. So currently our batch is running and we have an on a spot offer for all the webinar attendees. So these are the things we provide. The total cost of the program is $575, but we are offering at $295. But today is a special offer and we are giving at 10% more discount to all the webinar attendees who register within today. At the cost will be $266. You can visit our website link to know the more information about them. So our trainer will be recognized industry practitioner who will be having a very rich experience in training. So that will be teaching you end to end on this. So these are the dates. So our batch is going to start on 10th of June and will end on 16th of July. Timings are here, you can see on the screen. So let me go you some of the testimonials which students are posting over the different platforms. So as you can see, they are having posted their certifications. And today we are also going to provide you the tutorials for this webinar. So we will be providing you the tutorial guide and also you will get the participation of certification of participation. And this you have to fill a form which will be sharing, my team will be sharing a link in the chat so that you can fill the form and get the certificate of participation within 24 hours over your registered mail ID. So moving it to next, this is the companies which accept our certifications across all the globe. So without any further delay, Let me hand over our trainer and he will continue the webinar.
Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. Jatin this side, I'm Jatin Mulla. So I am a DevOps trainer. By profession, I am a, DevOps specialist. So if I tell you about myself, I have experience of 7 years into the DevOps world. So I have a major experience into the Azure DevOps, and besides this other CI/CD tools, which we will discuss during the sessions. Today, I will going to present you about the Git, that is a version controlling system. There are different types of version controlling systems, which I will explain you today. If I tell you more about this course, in this course, you will learn about the DevOps technologies like Docker, Kubernetes, more detailed into the Git, the version controlling systems. There are several other topics through which you will go through, like Azure, and I will also take you through the Azure DevOps and all. In this, during this course, you will, after this course, what you will learn and how you will achieve and what you will achieve the things that will be my from my side. And I always focus that as a learner, you should have a lots of hands-on experiences onto the tools. So we have created a lot of training experiences, or you can say lot of training materials, which through which you can go through and do a lots of hands-on activities. So in during the sessions, you will do a lot of things like this. I will be taking up a theoretical part and the practical part both. So that is all about the courses and about me. Let's start. Today I'm going to present you about the version controlling. Okay. We will try to make this interactive session. So if I talk about the version controlling, does anybody know what is the version controlling? If yes, you can put it into the chat. Your what do you mean by version controlling, and how do we use up a version controlling? I will give you 1 minute. Please put up your answers. Otherwise, I will also explain it from my side. Does anybody know version controlling? Okay. Let me explain it to you. What is a version controlling? Actually, in the software engineering world, everybody writes up a code. The software engineers write up a code. The developers write up a code. Correct, Shivani. So, what they do, they write up a code like in any languages, Java, you can say Ruby, Ruby Rails, Python, any languages. They write up a code in any languages. Either they can also store up the HTML file, images, anything. So, why they write up a code? They write up a code to create any application, any software. So, if you see any website, that is a front end. On a back end, and a particular type of you can say complete script is written through which you get up that page, correct? Now when you write up the some kind of scripts and all, you need some place to be stored. Like when you create up any notepad file or any of the Word file or Excel file, where do you store? You store it into your local C drive, D drive, or E drive, correct? Into your laptop. Now, similarly, the developers are there. They also want to store up their code. Okay. Onto the local, they can store that code onto the C drive, D drive, or E drive of their laptop. But now, as a team, now as a complete team, as a software development team, they want to store that particular code some at common place so that you and me can see the same code. Because in a company, when one product is created, there's a whole team. And individual developers have their own roles into that product, correct? Let's suppose one developer is there whose work is to write up the code for the front end. Some other one is there who is working to create up another feature. So in a complete website, multiple features are there, like payment gateways, front end click page, login page, back end page. All those things need to be written up a code. one developer doesn't work completely. Individual persons are there, those works onto the different features, and after that, all together they collaborate and create up a one application. Correct. Now they want to share that code with each other. How will they share up a code? In earlier times, they used to share up a code through the pen drives, or they used to share up the code through the different methods, like they can store it into other drives and all the common places. They used to do that earlier, but there is a huge challenge between the sharing up a code between these through these methods. Why? What is the challenge? Why we can't share up through the emails, or why can't we share up through the pen drives and all? That the reason being is, let's suppose I am a developer A. Okay, there's a developer A and he has written up a code. This is a person is there, developer A. He has written up a code. Now there is also a developer B. He has also written up a code. Now in earlier times, they used to take up a pen drive. Let's suppose A has written up a code. Now he is sharing up that code with the B with the pen drive. Now again, B has copied that code into the from the pen drive to his local. Now started making up a changes into that code and reshared with the A. Now see, sharing up a pen drive is not too good. Why? Because sometimes A developer is in some other city, B is another city, and also there are several challenges were there when they used to do like this. Now, what is another alternate way? Some people will say we can put it into a Google Drive or some other drives, which is a common place from where they can take up the code. Now, again, that is also a challenge. Let's suppose developer A has written some code and share it with the B. When developer A was writing up a code and he has given up the code was running perfectly fine. Correct. So he has written something and it was running perfectly fine. Let's suppose he has written coding A, B, C. And I'm just giving a random example. Okay. So coding ABC. He has written some code. Now he has shared that thing with the B. By mistake, this particular person, the developer B, has changed this line from ABC to ADB. Now something has been changed over here, because of which now the code which was shared by the developer A is not working, and now there is 100 lines of code, and now they want to find it out what changes were made. Correct. So this person has made what changes that this particular application has stopped working. So to rectify this thing, either they have to rewrite the code or they have to ask the developer A. Now finding out the reason is too much complex, or it was too much time taking. So alternate to this is, what we did, we have brought up a new tool, that is a version controlling systems. What is a version controlling systems? Through the through the version controlling tools, you will take up the history. For example, when the developer A has given up something to the B, when he has pushed that code into that file repository, it will record up the things, that what changes or what files has been pushed by the developer A and what developer B has received. As soon as the developer B will make some updates into that code, it will create up the history. History means it will create up the back in a backend. It will record the things like what changes has been made. So just in case, now we want to check it out what developer B has done from the backend, from the particular history, we can check it out that these changes were made. So on a backend, you can say a complete history is getting created, through which we can rectify if we want to roll it back the changes. If we want to roll it back the changes, or if we want to find it out what changes has been made, then complete the complete checking up the code is not required. We will go to the history and easily compare the things which has been changed. So this is like more of the version controlling. Now in version controlling also we have two types. There are two types of version controllings are there. One is called a centralized version controlling. Another one is distributed version controlling. So what's the difference between a centralized and version controlling? Earlier, uh, these days also both of the technologies are preferred. Like most of them are used. But if I tell you about the percentage of usage, 90% of people are using up the distributed and only 10% are using up a centralized. I will tell you about what is the difference. The difference is the storage, like where we are storing up our code and how we are sharing up the code with the people. So what is a centralized one? In case of centralized, what happens? I'm writing up in short. So what happens in case of centralized? You have a server. Okay, there is a server. So they have a common place in a common directory, in a common server. The developer A and developer B will directly push the code, directly make but push the code means whatever changes they are making up into that code, that will be directly pushed, that will be directly committed, that will be directly saved. Okay, so developer A is there, developer B is there, whatever changes they are making into the code, that will be copied directly to the server, directly to the server. There is no copy of the data onto their local side. Okay, in case of centralized, what happens? There is no copy of the code on their local system or laptop. Okay, direct changes, direct changes are made on the direct changes are made onto the server or the files stored. Okay, now on the other hand, what happens? There's a distributed. What is a distributed? In case of distributed, sorry for the spelling. In what happens in case of distributed? In case of distributed, if there is a developer A and developer B are writing up their code, first they will copy all the files or whatever code is there. They will copy up complete files and directory on their local laptop. So what happens? There is a one more mediator in between. So what do you mean by mediator in between? Let's suppose there is one more. This is a server and this is a developer A laptop and developer B laptop. So first they will copy the code. They will clone the code, the complete code to their systems. So developer A will copy up the code onto his laptop. Developer B will copy the code onto his laptop. And from there, they will make up the changes and push the code onto their particular server. Now, what is the difference? In case of centralized, you're directly making up the changes over there and saving. But in case of this distributed one, you're copying up the data onto your local system, system, copy of the local laptop. You're copying the data completely onto their laptop, copy onto the laptop. And after that, you are making up the changes after you're sure that yes, the changes whatever I've made is fine and it looks good, then I will push those changes. Push those changes means whatever I have saved over here, I will push those changes onto the server. Similarly, developer B will also copy the complete code onto his system, and after copying up the code, making up the changes, once he is sure that his code is fine to be pushed, then what will happen? He will push those changes onto the server. Now, what happens after storing up into the server? Once it is stored into the server, then developer A can view the changes of the developer B. Developer B can see the changes of the developer A, and they can also compare the files that what changes has been made by the developer A or B, or how the things are going up. From there, it starts running. So I hope you got the benefits of the version controlling. And there are two things, distributed and centralized. Example of the centralized is you can say you have the uh, SCM and we have the TFS. These are the different types of centralized version controlling systems. These are the repositories. I will show you that as well. And another one is in case of distributed, the example is Git. Most of the people have heard about the Git if you are from the software development world, or if you're from the IT world also, you must have searched about some answers. And in answers is sometimes take you to the code towards the Git, because there is a different places. One is called a public repository and private repository. So in case of public repository and private repositories are there are the authentication methods which we will explain in during the classes. So there's a community. The people are there, different from the different backgrounds. The community is there. They write up their code, they write up their ideas, and they want to contribute into the community. Why to the community? Because let's suppose I am a beginner, I want to learn something, and there is an expert who knows about those technologies, and they want to share up that code, their knowledge with the other people. So they store it into the Git, and through the Git we can take up the code. I will show you about all those things into the action, how things work, and I will show you how to create up the accounts as well. I will explain you both the things. So in case of distributed or centralized, which one is good? If you talk about, if you compare which one I should use, centralized or distributed. So 90% of the people are using up a distributed. Why? Benefits of using up a distributed is everybody is taking up the code onto their local system. So if there is no internet is there, still the developer A and B can save those changes onto his laptop. And once the internet connection is there, he or she can make the push those changes into the server. Okay, whatever changes they are making, that can be directly pushed to the server once internet is back. And another thing is, let's suppose some issue came up to this particular server and you can't reach it out, or some other reasons are there. So still you have the copy of that data onto your laptop. Anybody can push that code into the server back as a backup. Okay. And what is the disadvantage of the centralized? Disadvantage is like if no internet connection is there. So let's suppose this person is traveling and internet connection is not there. So whatever changes he is making, he can't push those changes to the centralized. So he can't make those changes. He can't save those changes because of the centralized. Okay. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. So example of distributed was Git. So what is a Git? Git is another tool which is used for the version controlling. I will show you what is a Git and how to install that Git. You can take it out. Most of the people, if you have heard about the software development, well, Git is the most common thing which you will hear. Every developer is using up a Git. Every company is using up the Git. Why? Because they want to track the changes. Let's suppose developer A has made some changes, and after that he went out, and there's a another manager, he wants to check it out what changes were made. For from the version controlling, from the history, he can compare the files, he can see the changes, like what things has been made, what changes has been made. So through the version controlling systems we can easily use it. So another terms came up with the Git. So what is a Git? Git is a technology, is a tool for the version controlling, which comes under the category of the distributed. Okay. So in case of Git can be installed onto a local system. It's a tool. Okay. I will tell you there is a one more term which is a GitHub. I will tell you what is the difference between a Git and the GitHub. So Git is a tool that for is used for version controlling. Okay, Git tool is used for the version controlling. So in case of Git, you install the Git into your local system. How you can install it? I will give you the link. This is the link through where you can install it. Once this particular, I have shared the link into the chat. Once this is there, okay. What you can do, you can create any folder onto any of the directory, D drive, C drive, and you can create any the folder with the any name. Okay, whatever name you want to keep it of the folder, you can keep it a name, Git ABC XYZ, any name you can keep it over there into the folder. To confirm whether it is installed or not, you can put it like git version. So if I write up this command git version, it means that the git version, this particular version is installed onto my system. And how did I install it? I went out to the website. I have followed these steps. This method of installing and setting up the Git, we usually take it into the sessions. When I will start, when you once you will enroll the classes and you will start up the sessions, we will see all those things into the action. I will tell you more about these things, how we can work onto the Git and all those things more in detail during the sessions. Because we have a time limitations today, so I'm taking a little bit faster. Okay. So you can install it from the Git. You can install the Git onto the Windows as well as onto a Mac OS. Any of the OS, you can take it and you can install it. On Linux also, you can install the Git. So once the Git is installed, you can use this command to find out the Git version. Okay. Through this Git version, you can check it out. What is the version onto a system is installed onto it, this one. So let's suppose this is the my D drive. Under the D drive, this folder I have created, that is a Git. Under the Git, I want this particular folder to be should come under the version control. What do you mean by this particular folder should come under the version control? It means that whatever changes I want in this particular, whatever changes I will make into this particular folder, that should be tracked. History should be created for that particular thing. So what I can do, I will write up a command called git init. As soon as I run up a git init, you can see initialize empty git repository in this particular directory. So you can see as soon as I've written git init, a particular folder. This is a .git folder. It's a hidden folder. To view this particular folder, you can go into the view and there's an option called as hidden items. Once you will click onto the hidden items, this folder will be visible to you. .git. So if this folder, this hidden folder exists into any of the folder directory, it means that this comes under the version controlling. What do you mean by version controlling? That whatever file changes you will make into this particular directory, a history, a version will be created out of it. So let's suppose I have one .git. Now I'm creating one file. So I will create one file over here, text file, just for the presentation. This is a text file which I have created. Now under this file, if I make any changes and I commit or save those changes, then those things will be tracked out of it. Okay. Now what is the benefit? Again, the benefit is like I am making up a changes onto my local and I am sharing, I want to share it with my other people. So all those version things, all those changes, all those commits will be saved over here and those will be pushed into the remote server. And what does it mean by remote server? Remote server means the place from where other users, other developers can take up the code and they can view up the code. Now, I need that common place. Should I create up my own servers or local servers? No, I will use up a different platforms. So into the IT world, different platforms are available. Those help to store up the code or the Git. And one of the platform is known as the GitHub. Okay, so there's one more term which is a GitHub. GitHub is a platform. Okay, GitHub is a platform which is used to store your code so that other users or developers can view the code and share the code. Okay. So let's suppose Git is a tool which is stored onto my local. Now I want to store that particular code with the other people. Then how can I do it? I need some platform. For example, let's suppose you have a photos onto your system on your laptop and you want to share it with me. How will you share it? You will use some platform. One of the platform is like Google Photos. You will use up a Google Photos platform to take up the code. Okay, from the sorry, to take up the photos, you upload the photos onto the Google Photos, and from the Google Photos, you take up the link and you take it from there. You can take it from there, and I can copy the photos onto my local system. Similarly, in case of this also, Git is a tool which is installed on my local, which is used for the version controlling. And after taking up a Git tool, whatever changes I have made, I've created the history. Now I want to share it with my other people. So I will use up a GitHub tool, okay, or a platform. Most of the people gets confused with the Git and the GitHub. They both are different things. GitHub uses a Git tool to share up the code with the other people for the version controlling. Many people ask, is there any other platform besides the GitHub? Yes, there are other platforms as well besides the GitHub. Those provide you a facility to use up the Git and share up the code with the other team members. The other competitors of the GitHub is like Bitbucket. Bitbucket is there. Another one is known as a GitLab, and many more are there, which can be even you have the same thing onto the Azure DevOps as well, the repositories which we say. So you can take up the any of the platform, either a GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, Azure DevOps. All of those are the platforms through which you can share up the code with the other people. So Git is a tool, and GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, Azure DevOps are the platforms through which you can share up the code with the other team members or the other people. Okay. So going further, if you want to create up the account, if you want to share up the code, so what you have to do is you have to go into the github.com. This is a github.com. This is a github.com. And all of you, you have to create up your accounts into github.com during the sessions, during the training sessions. You all have to create your accounts so that we will do a hands-on activities. And also in future, if I will be sharing up any assignments, I will be sharing up under this GitHub. So let's suppose I'm giving a link. You can create this one. This is github.com. I've shared the link. You can create your accounts onto github.com. This is a free of cost. Okay. So anybody can create up the github.com account. So after going to the github.com, you will create one repository. What do you mean by repository? Repository means a directory or a place which will help you to record the changes. You can say it's a complete directory. So usually in a companies, we create the repositories by the project name. So if there is a project called ABC or any of them, then we create it through the this one. Through the GitHub account, we create up the repositories so that we can identify this particular code belongs to which project, which team. Through that, we create the repository, and future, whatever code changes we want to make, we make the changes into that particular repository. So on the left side, you can see I have few of the repositories like Maven, Jenkins pipeline, DevOps learners. These are the different repositories, and each of these repositories, we have a different type of code, different project codes. So if I show you one of the example of the pre-existing repositories, you can go into this one, DevOps Labs, a Jan batch. So in this one, if I was talking about the histories, correct? Some changes has been made and all things comes, you can over here. Do you see? This was a commit ID on 19th March. Some changes were made. And what changes has been made? If I go and click onto this commit ID, you can see the green line and the plus sign, it means these files changes were added. Plus signs mean these changes were added. And in which file those changes were made? Interview questions. Under this particular file, those changes were made at what on which date and time? This is the time date. Okay. Shivani, only Git is required. GitHub is not required. GitHub is a platform. Git is a tool which helps you to interact with the GitHub. Okay. GitHub also provides you a desktop application that I will show you. Desktop application is like onto this github.com. I'm interacting through the internet, through the browser. That is the web-based application. And also we have a desktop application that is can be installed onto a github.com as well. You can use it, but you don't need to install anything onto a GitHub site if you don't want. Just you require is a Git onto your local system. Okay. Now going further, you can see the changes has been made. If I go back and see, you can see 3 months ago, this particular folder was updated. 4 months ago, this folder was updated. You can see all the histories, all the changes in this particular repository. Now, for example, I am a new person. I want to create a fresh repository. How can I do that? So to create this one, you have an option called a create new repositories. So you can create your own repositories from different places. You have the option. From here, you can see your repositories. Click on the new and you can name it anything. For example, I want to keep it up a presentation. Okay, this particular name is available. So I am taking up as a repository name. Another option comes a public or private. What is the difference between a public and private? Public means if I give the link of my repository, then all of you can view that code. All of you can view the complete files and directories. Okay. But in case of private, if I create up a private, then I have to grant the access to the individual persons. So that they can view or not. So for the authentication purpose, to keep my data private and all, we use up the private authentication method. For now, I am keeping up a public so that at the end I will share it up a link and you all can see the same content which I can view it on my side. So I am creating up a, let's suppose, a public repository. Another one is README file. README file is like a we create up a README file to put up the instructions, to details of the project and all. So it's a kind of a guide when you create a purchase any of the product into the market. Purchase any product means, let's suppose you have bought up a mobile. There is a instruction manual, correct? So when you create up any applications into the into the software engineering world also, we have some common set of rules, instructions to run that code, and complete instructions and those files need to be stored somewhere, correct? So that if one developer is left, another person has joined and they want some manual or instructions to use that code, those will be stored under a README file. Okay, there are few more options are there which we will take up during the classes. There is something about the branches, master branch and all those things I will explain during the classes because it will go much more in detail and can't be covered into a short span of time. After that, we create up the repository. So my repository has been created. If I share this link with all of you, you can open up the link and you will see this file readme.md. Okay. Now let's suppose, let me remove this one. I will tell you about all those things during the sessions, why I've removed it and all. Now let's suppose I want the same code which is there onto this particular same file. I want it onto my local system. What I will do under this particular directory, D drive Git directory, I will clone it, git clone. and the URL, the link. If I do this one, git cloning, you will see the same README file and the folder has been created over here. Do you see .readme.md? The same file was there. Enter this particular option, readme.md. The same file got created under my local system, readme.md. If I open this particular file, you will see something is written under this particular file. Okay, now let's suppose developer B has given me this link and I have checked out the changes which has been made over here. I want to add something new. Let's suppose adding a new line. Now I am saving up those changes onto my local. See, I have written up this particular content over there into this particular file, and it is stored onto my local only. It is still the changes which I have made that is on my local. Okay, that is not visible onto to the other people. I want this changes to be visible to other people. What I will do, I will commit those changes. So git add, these are the few commands which I will explain you. Git add, oh, 1 second, sorry. I have to go into that directory. So from here, I will put up a git add. So has been added. Now after this one, I will put up a commit, git commit and hyphen. This is a message. I will put up some message over here. So what I have done, earlier, I have made some changes. I have to save those changes under my version controlling. I want those changes to be made and stored under the history. So I have done that git commit. Commit means I am making saving those changes under my version controlling. So I've made those changes. Still, those changes are on my local. If I open this CMD, this readme.md file, that file still is on my local. That is not stored under this one. Now I want those changes to be visible to other. Then what I will do, I will just write up a command called git push. As soon as I will run this command, git push, whatever changes I have made onto my local, that changes will be pushed onto your server. That is a GitHub server. So if I refresh this page, 1 second, let me share my screen. Can you see now? Can you see now? Let me reshare again. Now, okay. So let I will repeat it again. What happened? Whatever changes I have made onto my local, I want those changes to be seen over the portal, over this github.com. We want to see those changes. Okay. Now to view that changes, what I have done, I first have stored that particular changes under my Git tool, the version controlling Git commit using this is a message. Why I have made those messages? For example, I'm a developer A. I am making some changes and I know why those changes are required. But developer B and the other people don't know why those changes has been made. So to make a like a message, to provide as a message, we are putting up as we are giving up some messages like new changes has been made under this commit ID. Okay, so for that point, what we will do, we will have put up the message, and after that we have done the git push. After doing up a git push, what has done this command? What is the use of this command? Whatever changes were there onto my local file, those changes has been pushed onto this server. So if I go to github.com and refresh this page, you will see, and the whatever changes were done by me onto a local, this line was added on from my local. So whatever changes I have made onto my local, that came up over here. Okay, and now I have given you this link already. Everyone just refresh that presentation link and you will see another uh, line has been added. Another content has been added under this particular GitHub. Quickly just check it and let me know if it is visible. Okay. Now, similarly, if I want to see what changes has been made, if I click on this particular commit ID, and I will tell you more on details on these things once the classes will be start. These are the commit IDs. Commit IDs are the unique IDs which is self-created. These are created to identify whenever, like, let's suppose there is a changes you make it onto your local, you want to identify in future, you want to find out the differences, you put some IDs, correct, to identify the different things. Similarly in this also, an ID gets created to identify what changes has been done, when it has been done. So unique ID gets created. If I want to see what changes were done into this ID, I click on this ID, you can see another line, this two lines were added. You can, minus means it was removed, plus means it was added. So you can compare now under this commit ID what new changes has been made. Okay, so every time when you make up a new changes onto your file, let's suppose I'm putting up my name under this file. Okay, again what I will do, I will make some changes into this file. Let's suppose Jatin, save it. Again, I will do the git add. I will tell you the reasons before this command. Git add. After that, again git commit. I will put up another message. Second commit. Now those changes are still onto my local. Okay, it's still onto my local. I want to push those changes onto the system, onto the server. So what I will do, git push. As soon as I will do a git push, those changes from my local will be pushed onto the remote server. So if I go back into the code, you can see again the changes has been presented over here. Now this time the commit ID has been changed. If I click onto this commit ID, it will show me what is the changes has been made. Jatin has been added over here. That is the use of a version controlling. So, and who has made those changes? Jatin Bhalla has made those changes. If I grant you the permissions to make changes from your side, you can also do that and push those changes. Through this ID, the GitHub ID, I can identify who has made the changes, where he has made the changes, and when he has made the changes. This will help you to rectify the bugs, the issues, and to identify what changes has been made into the code. Okay, that is about the Git and the GitHub. It's a very vast thing. I'm explaining you in a short today, but it's a very vast thing. Okay, so we discussed about the version controlling. What is the version controlling? It helps you to track the changes and keep up the records, like what changes has been done, who has made the changes, when it has been done. And for that, there are two types of version controls are there: centralized and distributed. So under the centralized, there is a SVN. In centralized, we store up the code directly to the server, make the changes over there into the server, push and pull the changes directly to the server. In case of distributed, just now I've shown you the example of the distributed. That is a tool called it as a Git. Under the Git, you first store the changes. You take up the changes and first you store up the changes into the local. What I did it over here, I've stored those changes onto my local, and after that, I've pushed those changes into the remote server. Remote server was GitHub account. So then after that, what I did, I have created a complete history, checked it out the history, and shared the link with you. You all can identify. Now, if you are interested, you can also take up the same files onto your system as well. How you can take a top up one. Let's suppose you want these files onto your system. So what you can do, you can go to my repository, the link which I have given. You can take up this command called it as a git clone. You all what you can try. Let's suppose there's one folder. If you all want to try a small presentation for small help, if you have the git installed, what you can do, you can go over here, go to cmd, write up a command called git clone, and put the URL which I have given you and just put enter. Then the same changes, the file changes which I have made onto my side, that will be reflected on your side as well, onto your local laptop. Okay. So distributed version control means you are taking up a clone onto your local system. Then what is a Git? As I explained, Git is a DevOps tool used for the source code management. It is a free and open source version controlling system used to handle very small, large, and the projects efficiently. So project size doesn't matter. You can take it for the any project type, either it is a big or small. It's up to you. So here's a one as an example, like you are taking up these are developer one, developer two, developer three. They are putting up the code onto a Git distributed server and extracting and the code. They're keeping up a clone of that code onto the system and pushing up those code. Then we discussed about the GitHub. GitHub is a platform. On this platform, what we do, we are storing up a code, sharing up the code with the different team members. So what is the difference between a Git and the GitHub? Here it is. Git, it's a software. GitHub is a service. It's a Linux maintained Git. Microsoft maintains the GitHub. If you know, GitHub is a tool or a platform which is maintained by the different companies. So GitHub is owned by the Microsoft. Okay. So it is a command line tool. Like I've shown you a few of the commands into the Git, like these commands, CMD commands. These commands are same whether you are using up a GitLab or whether you are using up a Bitbucket, Azure DevOps. If you're using any of the platform, these commands, Git commands are common. Okay, just the difference is the platform and few of the features which platform provide you. Other than this, Git commands and all will remain the same. The working of the Git remains the same. Okay. Saurav is asking if you change anything into a file. So every time do I need to take clone or there is any other command that on my local you update the code is present? No, Saurabh, you don't have to take the clone every time. What you can do, let's suppose I to show this one, let me do one thing. I will make some changes directly onto the server. Okay. Let me open up this file, edit this file. Let's suppose I'm writing up a command, another line, bhalla, over here, and I'm committing those changes. Okay. Now these but this particular word bhalla has been added over here into the server. If I show you on my local, let me open this one. Still, bhalla is not visible. Correct? Bhalla is not visible. Cloning is required only one time. That is the first time. Okay. Now further, if any developer has made the changes or I have made the changes, which is available onto the server, but not onto my local, I want to bring up those changes onto my local. What I will do, I will run up another command, which is known as a git pull. If I run this command called git pull, it will bring up those changes which is there onto the server onto my machine. Now if I open this file, do you see Bhalla came up onto my local. I don't have to do it the git cloning again and again. I just have to write up another command that is a git pull. Okay. So other differences, just take it up for 2 minutes and read it out the differences between a GitHub and the Git. Then I will go with the further one. Garwood, that thing we will explain during the sessions because it is little bit more in detail about the branching strategies and all. It is a little bit time consuming. Today is a demo session, so it is a we have to take a consideration about the time. Branching strategies, how do we create up the branches, how we switch between the branches and all. We will take it up during the sessions. PKJ, you can ask your queries like course fees and all with the above links which DevOps Lab team has shared with you, or at the end of the session, they can answer your query about the course fee. Okay, these are the differences between the Git versus a GitHub. Now, when you are joining over here during the session, we have talked about the DevOps. Correct. You must be willing to learn about the DevOps. What is a DevOps? Why we are going to learn the DevOps? What things we will learn during the DevOps? Git and GitHub is one of the tool into the Git this DevOps course, which is highly used. And now I will tell you what is the usage of the Git with the CI, this DevOps. In DevOps, it came up with the word known as a developers plus operations team. Now they both team work together into the IT industry. Okay. Now developers write up the code and they give up a code to the operations team to run onto the server so that their applications can execute. Now they want to share up that code with the operations team within the team also and operations team also, because without code they can't deploy it onto the servers. So to share up that code, we use up the Git. Okay, that is the one advantage. Another advantage is to create up the CI/CD concept. What is the CI/CD? CI/CD means continuous integration and continuous deployment. What do you mean by continuous integration and continuous deployment? Let's suppose just now I have made some changes into my code or file. I want those files and those changes should deploy automatically onto my servers. Earlier, this process was manual. Manual means like I used to make up the changes into my code, store it into the Git. The developers or the operations teams take up that code, copy that code, and then the new changes which has been made to the application was reflecting. But this was a time consuming. I want to shorten up the time. I want to things to work faster. So what I did, I created up a CI/CD, that is a continuous integration and deployment. These terms we will talk much more detail during the classes. So now what happens during the CI/CD pipeline? As soon as I have made some changes into my file, into my code, it runs, there's a complete set of tasks. Complete process runs automatically on a background. And once those process is executed successfully, the changes you have made into the code will be reflected onto the application. For example, I will explain you with the diagram. What happens? What is the CI/CD? I will explain you. Let's suppose there is a developer A. Okay, this is a developer A. He has written up a code onto a local laptop. He has written up a code onto a local laptop. There is a code. He has saved that code onto the local laptop and then pushed that code on GitHub. Correct? For example, I have pushed up my code onto my GitHub. Similarly, this is developer A. He has pushed that code onto the GitHub account. As soon as he made the changes into a GitHub account, that code need to be deployed onto the server. Server means not about the GitHub server. Here I am talking about the server on which I am running my application. For example, WhatsApp application, Instagram application. You must have seen Instagram, WhatsApp, or any other application. Frequently, we get the updates. Any updates, interface updates, any other feature updates. We get those different kind of changes into that application. On a backend, what is happening? Let's suppose there's a developer A who is working with the Facebook company, Instagram, who is writing up a code for the Instagram. He must have copied that code onto his local system. After that, he has made some changes into that Instagram application. And after writing up an Instagram application, he has pushed the code onto the GitHub over there. Okay, so we have pushed that code onto a GitHub. And as soon as this particular code has been pushed onto the GitHub, from there, the server on which Instagram is running, on which you are interacting with Instagram, you store up a features or you store up some of the images as a user that is getting stored onto this server. Correct? This code is running onto some servers. You're interacting with these servers, these machines. Correct? So as soon as a developer A has pushed that code into this particular server, those changes are visible to the users. Okay, now this process of pushing up a code to the GitHub and then deploying that code onto the particular server, they want it up automatically. For that process, we have introduced a CI/CD. There are different tools for the CI/CD, for example, Azure DevOps, Jenkins, GitHub Actions. Many more tools are there into the market, which is used for the CI/CD. What they want, as soon as the developer has made the changes onto a local system, saved it, and pushed that code to GitHub, automatically that code should be visible. Those changes are visible to the users. They want this kind of process. They want this kind of process. They don't want any further manual processes. So GitHub is used extensively for this process, and with that particular changes reflects. For example, earlier developer A on a background has written up a red. Okay. Now later he has realized that I want to change it from the red to blue. Okay. Now for that one from red to blue, as soon as he has made the changes from red to blue, the blue will be deployed onto the servers and users will start getting up a blue page over there. Earlier it was a red. As soon as the developer A has made the changes from red to blue onto his local laptop and push it onto the GitHub, directly it will go to the particular server and users will see the changes. No manual intervention is required in between. Alice? What is a CI/CD? CI/CD, CI means continuous integration. CD means continuous deployment. So I'm telling you in short about the CI/CD. During the sessions, we will go in much more in detail. CI means like continuous integration. Continuous integration means creating up the packages, the artifact. Continuous integration means you are creating up the artifacts. Okay. In the particular one, continuous integration, you create up the artifact. Artifacts means the packages. So for example, you have a Java application. You want to create some package. You're taking up a code. Example, if I talk about the packages, is like you must have installed some softwares onto your laptop. What you do, you go to the Google, you search for that software, you get one package, the exe file, executable file, correct? You once you download that particular executable file onto your laptop, you double click on that and the software gets installed onto your laptop. Similarly, when the developer writes up the code, they package it. They create a compressed file. And after compressing that file, they copy that particular one to the particular server, any of the servers they want to take it out. And on that server, they extract it and your applications get running in state. So in case of continuous integration, you create the packages, the executable file, you can say. Okay, I will tell you more in detail during the sessions. But in case of continuous integration, you can just think about it creates up the packages which gets executed. So after creating up that particular packages, what you do, you deploy onto the server. And that deployment process is known as the continuous deployment. Now, what is a continuous deployment? The packages which was created under this process need to be deployed onto the server. And this process should be automatic. That's why it is known as a continuous. This process they want it automatically. So they call it as a continuous integration or continuous deployment. So if I talk about the layman example, let's suppose you have a friend and your friend asked for some software. What you will do? You will go to first google.com. You have downloaded that software. Let's suppose VLC or any of the software. You take it up a VLC software. You put it into a pen drive. Given that pen drive to your friend, and that person will take the pen drive, double copy that particular software on his laptop, double click on it. So now he will also have that software, correct? Now, similarly, in case of continuous integration, continuous deployment, in case of continuous integration, you have created the package. You have taken up a package, executable file. You you have taken up the package. Now you will copy that package to the servers. Copying up the package, extracting that package is known as a continuous deployment. Over here, I have given you the example of one server. But on a backend, there are multiple servers are there on which your applications execute. Why we have a multiple servers? Because there are so many users are there. You can think about like huge count of users are there. Can one server manage so much of users? No, they also have some limitations. For example, if you have your laptop, in your laptop, can you run up a multiple softwares or multiple things all together? No, sometimes it crashes because of the lot of you can say workload is there. So to avoid that workload, what you do, you purchase another laptop. On one laptop, you do some other task. On another laptop, you do some other task. Similarly, in case of this one, when you want to run any of the servers or the software applications, lot of users will interact. And if a lot of people will interact, it will require a huge memory space and some you can say configurations, and they also have the limitations of that configurations. To manage the traffic and all, we have the multiple servers. So continuous integration has created up the packages. Now I will copy that package and I will deploy and run into this server also and this server also. That is the continuous integration and continuous deployment. Now, in this complete step, how does the Git and the GitHub has worked? Into the developer A side, the Git was used to store up the version controlling to keep up the track of the changes. Once he have taken up the code from here, he has pushed those changes into the GitHub. As soon as the GitHub changes has been made, the pipeline, the set of tasks will be executing, and those executing tasks first CI will create up a package that is an executable file. Once executable file is created, okay, in the continuous deployment, we will take that package and deploy over here and deploy over here. So just see developer one or two commands of developer A has made the changes onto the server. That is a complete CI/CD and the DevOps. Now, in this one, we have the multiple softwares, multiple tools, which play their own roles, which I will explain during the sessions. Jessa, have you understood what is a continuous integration or deployment? Do you want me to repeat again? Anybody have any other questions? Okay. Where can we use up the under the DevOps strategies, where we can use up the Git, store the code changes, share the code, check history, version controlling, tracking changes, CI/CD. Alice, do you want me to repeat? Yes, Shivani. Bitbucket is also a platform. There are for many platforms are there which helps you for this storing up the code, which works for the Git. Yes, Shivani, GitHub. Bitbucket is another tool. GitHub is there. Azure DevOps is there. GitLab is there. These are the different platforms. Okay. Now next thing, there are a few commands of the Git. Few commands. Example: Git clone, Git init, Git clone. Just I have shown you what was the use of the Git clone command. Like I have written up a code and store it up into the github.com, and you want those github.com changes to be stored onto your system. You want to copy that complete repository, complete code onto your laptop. So what I did the git clone command. Git clone is used to clone the complete code to bring up the complete code onto my local system. I have used up the git clone. Git init. So Git, like I have told you, Git itself is a tool. Okay. Now I don't want to store it up into the GitHub, or you can say GitLab and all. I want Git to be initialized. Like I want to create up the Git onto my version controlling onto my system only. To do that part, to initialize that particular step or the starting of the Git, you can also use up a Git init. Git init is a command you need to use if you want to start a new empty repository onto your local. Okay. So init is used for that purpose. Then you have the git push. I have shown you the command git push. Git push is used to push the changes which you have made onto your local to the remote server. Remote server in our example was GitHub. I have used this command as well. Git push, git pull. Git pull, I have told you. Like somebody asked me, do we need to clone again and again if changes has been made? No. Let's suppose developer B has made some changes. I want to bring those changes onto my system. Then I will use up a git pull. Git pull is like a synchronization. It's synchronized with your remote server and your local directory. So git pull is to fetch the changes which has been made. Git add is a staging. So if you see, I've used this command git add over here as well. Git add is used for the staging, like whatever changes I have made onto my file, I want to stage it. For that purpose, I will use up a git add over here. Dot, dot means the complete directory. So whatever changes I have made into this particular directory, D drive git presentation, the complete changes I want to stage it. So for that purpose, I have used up the git add. Another one is git branch. Branching strategies and all I will explain you during the session, but branches is used for the, like you have a tree, you have a stem, you have a main root stem, and then you create up a different, you can see different branches are there out of it. Similarly, in case of git also, you have one main stem like master, which we call it as, and we create the further branches out of it. Branches out of it means like whatever changes you will make to that branches, that will not be affecting some other people work until you merge it. Until you merge the code, your changes will not be reflected to the others part. So these things I will explain you during the sessions. It's like very much in detail how to work on this one. Okay, Sahitya, I will repeat about the git init. So what happens in git init? Let's suppose, let me delete this one. Okay. Okay, let me create up a new folder and then I will show you. Let's suppose this is a new folder. Earlier, what I did, I have cloned this particular repository on my local, and then I've started working over here. Other than this, I want to create my repository from my system only, but that is not onto a GitHub. So what you can do, you can initialize out of it. For example, this is an empty folder for now. Okay, I will initialize a git into this folder. Currently it's empty. I'll put up a git init command. One second. Now, as soon as I've run up a git init, it means .git folder will be created. It means now this particular folder is used for the initializing. This folder is now can be tracked by the version controlling. Earlier, if I don't use up a git init, any changes I make into this folder, that will not be tracked. A history or anything will not be created until a .git is available. Now, under this directory, git has been initialized. Now, everything which I make changes into this one can be tracked. A version can be created out of it. But this method is used when you are using up onto your local only. So in this one, .git is there, but it is connected onto my local. It's not connected to the remote server. To connect with the remote server, first we have to push it out. We have to create up a synchronization connection with the github.com. Then only it will sync. If I run any commands right now, like git push and all, it will show me the error because it is there onto my local only. It's still onto my local. It is not synchronized with the github.com. So to initialize onto my local, it is just to my local system. I am using up a git init. Okay, Sahitya. Got it, Sahitya? Okay. Okay. Now, if you have any questions and answers, you can ask. From the session side, that's all from today, like from Git. It's a very brief session, like from the top over, like what is a Git, what is a GitHub.com. there are many more things into the Git world DevOps tools, which we will discuss during the sessions. And throughout the sessions, it will be an interactive one. So you all will be getting up a time to do the practicals and all. You can ask your questions during the sessions or after the sessions also. We will give you the all the answers. Any questions or answers? Anyone, any questions for from the classes, course, anything?
Hello, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from Ecuador, but I really need to know about the schedule of the course because you know in your country is not the same hour in my country, so that's why it's my question. And I'm very interested in the to become a DevOps engineer because I want to change my role because today I'm a software developer, but I need to transform my role.
Okay. So, Prakhar, can you convert the time zone and answer his query? Like, what will be that batch timings for him? Prakhar, are you there?
Uh, yeah, Jatin.
Yeah. Can you please answer
Yes.
his query? He wants to know about the batch timings according to
Yeah.
his time zone.
So like our batch starts at 7 p.m. IST. So can you give me your time zone? I will convert it according to you.
Okay, right now is 10 a.m. 10 and 20 a.m.
In which country do you live?
Ecuador.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Ecuador.
I didn't. Jatin, are you getting it? Which country is he?
No, no. No. Salvador, can you type it?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Okay.
Let me check the Ecuador timings
Ecuador.
for you.
Ecuador.
It will be around 5:30 a.m. for you. Sorry, no. It will be 7 p.m. 8:30 a.m. for you.
It will
8:30.
be.
Can you write?
It will. It
Can
will
you
be
write?
3 hours of session. It will be a 3 hour session on weekends.
Okay. Okay, and the other one is, do you have any chat or I don't know, you have Telegram group or WhatsApp group when where I can
Definitely.
write
You can.
another questions.
Right. So I'm sharing the email for you. So you can write your question over the email. We will respond to you over that. I'm sharing the email link,
Oh,
email video.
okay. I'm going to. I'm going to write my
Yes.
email in order
Uh,
to. If you can share more information, it will be fine.
Definitely.
Is that?
So we will send you a mail over this. And if you have any question, you can also revert to us.
Okay, I get it. Thank you so much.
Sure, Elias. We will share the details with you also.
And
Animals?
all sessions
Yeah,
and all
Jatin, please go
sessions
ahead.
will be recorded. And all sessions will be recorded. Just in case if you miss any of the sessions in between, you can see the sessions and you can ask the questions in next class. Prabhat, this recording will be available on YouTube as well. So we will share it with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Hey Jatin, can I ask you one thing? Like, sometimes people they provide like GitHub ID, like on social media, like on Telegram or somewhere. So is it like their repository? Like, if they give us ID, we can go to GitHub.com and then we can enter the ID and we can access that data?
If it's a public one and they have granted you the it's a public, then if you open up a link, then you can directly view it. If it's a private, then you have to provide your GitHub ID to that person who is the owner of that repository. They will
Okay.
grant you the access, then you can
Okay.
view it. It
Yeah, yeah.
depends what type of repository they have created.
Sometimes people provide like this is my GitHub ID. So I mean, it's public. That's why they want to provide and they want us to view that, right? So just a general question because I was not sure about this. Like, what is this GitHub? Because I've used Git and Bitbucket before, like for a short period of time. So yeah, that's why. It's okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? For on-premises, we have to set it up a complete setup. Garwood, in our one, we will taking it up using up a GitHub platform only, which is a like on a server, which is a common one. For setting up a GitHub onto a local on-premises, there is a complete set of steps and all, which we will not do it during the classes, which we will not do it. The process for using up a GitHub onto a on-premises and or onto the servers or the services, it's same. Okay, the commands and all are same. Just it's about where you are setting up your GitHub. Okay. If no further questions, then we are good to wrap up for today. I hope you have liked the session and you will join the classes and we will all together learn new things and I will take you to the different tools during the sessions.